A very good morning to you. Happy Monday. I know last Monday I said no Monday blues here, but yeah, kuna mtu ameangusha kikosi leo, but she's looking absolutely gorgeous. Welcome to your world. I'm your host, Muia Mary.
And my name is Winnie Lubaba, and I promise you, there are no Monday blues. I promise. It's just happened that I wore blue on a Monday. But we're good. We're good.
The energies are not blue.
The energies are not blue.
They're
yes,
not.
The energies are not blue. But
not.
I hope you had yourselves a lovely weekend. How was your weekend, my dear?
My weekend was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I spent Sunday with my family.
Oh, that's good.
I was at home with mom, dad, my cousins.
Oh.
Saturday I spent with my best friend, her family, and my godsons.
It was a godsons.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. It was a good weekend. Yes, it was. How was yours?
I rested. No, I went for an event and then.
Oh yeah, we saw that. Nangojea po to Danganya, you rested and we saw you.
Yeah, I was about to lie and say, I rested there, remember? Yep. No, yeah, I wasn't. Yeah, but it was a good. You know those events where you go and you feel inspired,
yes,
challenged,
yes,
motivated.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a good weekend. It was a good weekend.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. It's been a great month as well, and it's been the mental health awareness month.
Yes.
And we couldn't allow imwezi ipite before we dive right into those conversations, as difficult as they may be, as unspoken as some may be. And today's topic is quite something, because it's something that probably we've gone through in some way, one way or the other, because the big topic today is the face behind the smile and the silent struggle behind, seemingly normal lives. You walk around with a smile, you look happy, and sometimes when you're going through that, nobody knows the struggles that are going on behind the scenes. You show up because society expects you to show up in that way. You show up because you don't even sometimes understand what is going on with you. Yeah. So today we're unpacking all of that, understanding what that means.
And I really love the topic because so there has been a lot of conversations surrounding mental health. And the term depression, unfortunately, we have used it it's like to me saturate. Is it
ni kama mziki moja ikichezwa sana. Then you're not so sure is it a banger? I'm hearing it a lot.
Yes, so that we take away the seriousness of the condition, because we say, if you're not feeling well, if you're not, in your right mood, you're like, I'm depressed, So it's like we're taking away the seriousness of the condition.
Word. That's true.
That sometimes if someone tells you I am depressed, sometimes we're like, they're just having a bad day. We overlook the fact that maybe, just maybe, they could be depressed. So I really love today's conversation because it brings to light so many issues and so many, things that need to be brought to light.
And with the social media era now, there's a lot of quote unquote need to show up in a perfect way, to show up with your best self. This is my good side. It has a dimple. Winnie, that is true. This is the side. It has a dimple. This other side doesn't have a dimple. We show up perfectly, but sometimes the face that we show up with in the world is not the truth of what it is that is going on with us.
We've had a lot of people say when they go back home and close the doors and they just cry the entire time. But when you're out in the world, it's like everything is perfect, everything is good. So how about then we change the narrative? If everything is not okay, we have that safe environment where we can say, hey, listen, everything is not okay, I am struggling and I need help. And then where do we find the help?
That help, yes. Because I'm equal.
Yeah,
Help is there. Yes. And our guests today are just the exact thing you need today. From one end, we see what it's like to wake up smiling and not showing self and going through something that probably you don't even understand, and then going through, help because it is there. And on the other side, we have the help.
Yes.
In studio today, who are our guests today?
Oh my gosh. So we have Davis, is it a ball? Gare.
Yes.
Well, hey. Who is kind enough to share his journey with us. So, David, thank you so much for making the time. How are you feeling today? How are you doing?
I'm great.
Okay, fantastic. And we also have Dr. Janet Muia, who is a psychiatrist, joining us this morning for this very important conversation. How are you doing today, Doc?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yes.
Okay, you guys, there's a member going on.
There is. There's a bit of
you
black.
Forgot me.
No, we could turn that into a little
Nicola Black.
Blue.
Do you happen? Nicola Black.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good. Good. I like that when you ask Daktari how she is, she just took a moment.
Yeah.
She didn't answer.
Yeah.
How are you? Just took a bit and then said, pretty good. And the same thing happened, David, when you asked, you just took a bit and then answered the question, which we do not do. We don't do.
We go to default, saying I'm okay, and then that's it. Because we do not want to invite people in to understand, really, how are you doing? Yeah. Okay. We also have a question for you this morning, a very, very deep question. I really like it. So it says, if you could go back in time, what advice would you give your younger self about mental health? And there you have it, the question of the day on your screens. If you could go back in time, what advice would you give your younger self about mental health? I think this is it's a question that asks for a deep introspection.
Yeah.
You know, because most of the time we don't think about it. We really don't. Okay, so what would you tell yourself? What would you advise yourself? You know the drill by now. We are in studio, we're live, so you can call in. Our lines are officially open. You can engage with us on our socials at NTV Kenya, both on Facebook and on X, and you can tag us at @Lubembe_Winnie. It's Mukali Mary.
Did you say at It's Winnie?
Wait, what did I say? Wait, listen.
It's contagious. It's rubbing off. I love it, Winnie. Take it.
I said it. Take it. I didn't realize that.
It's fine.
I really did. Okay. All right. So let's get into the conversation, okay? So yesterday, I was going through some statistics by World Health Organization, and this is a report they released on 23rd. Of this month, and they said an estimated 727,000 people died by suicide in 2021. 727,000. That's a lot of people. Yeah. And some, I guess somewhere else, I think still WHO, they were saying 3,000 people die by suicide every day. So that means there's a need. Clearly, there's a need to talk about it. But hey, we have the Daktari here to give us all the numbers, all the statistics, and especially right here in the country, because we don't usually talk about it as much. And then figuring how we're doing our laws, you know, as far as mental health are concerned. We have the Mental Health Task Force that released a report as well. So how are we doing as people when it comes to mental health? And first of all, can we just understand mental health?
Yeah.
In itself, in a practical, most basic way.
Okay, thank you for having me.
Karibu.
Most of the time when you hear mental health, our minds run to mental health illnesses. Yet mental health is beyond disease. It's your everyday life. It's how you're feeling today, how you're thinking today, how you're acting today. All that is directly affected by your mental health. If I would use the World Health Organization definition, I find it very comprehensive. So when we say you are in good mental health, we mean you are in that space where you're able to utilize your potential, your ability. You're able to do what you're doing today. Okay? You're able to cope with what life throws at you, the stresses. You're broke, you're still running. You're going through the ups and downs of life, but you're still going. You can only do that if you're in good mental health. You're productive, you're fruitful, like you're meeting your targets at work. You're meeting your targets in the various other roles you are as a friend, as all that. And you're making a difference in the community. You realize from that definition, we are never at our optima. It keeps varying. How you are in the morning, it will be very different from how it is in the evening. So it doesn't exist as a fixed state. It's a continuum which varies. There are times you're performing amazingly at work. There are times you can barely manage. That shows that's a season where you're struggling in terms of your mental health. When you look at it that way, it's a conversation for everyone. It's your everyday situation. Yes, it's
When you put it like that, you look at the different spheres of your life and how you show up in those spaces. How then do I figure out? Because I could have a bad day. Winnie showed up today. Winnie is over here being moody. I'm in affect. And then tomorrow, somebody else I'm in affect. You know. At what point do I know then that these are not just situational things and there's something heavier, bigger, underlying?
You find before we say you are struggling with a mental health disorder, it takes time.
Okay.
Like there's no diagnosis of mental health that's after a day or 2 days. It's usually a week, 2 weeks, a month by the time we say there's probably something.
Okay.
So it doesn't mean you've been sad today because something happened. That's just sadness. What she was saying when Winnie was saying, we keep saying we're depressed. That means you're just sad. You're just sad today. Someone entered you badly on traffic. You're like, you're sad. That's sadness. That's a normal emotion. But by the time we say it's depression, it's 2 weeks of the same situation. You see, now that can't be situational. You can't be finding yourself in similar situations every other day. Yes. So by the time we say there is something, it takes time. Okay. And this is like a standard guideline globally. Yes, there's a time factor to it.
All right.
Yes.
You know, at this point, I'm like, can we then explore this emotions? Because sometimes, like you said, you're sad, but you think, oh no, we're depressed. Or there's a shift in your mood and we say, yeah, this one is stressed. Or something happens, or maybe you're frustrated and we think this person is angry. Can we explore all these emotions and how maybe they present themselves so that by the time next time we think this person is depressed, how about no, maybe they're just sad. Maybe they're just having a bad day.
Yeah. It goes back to, are we comfortable with emotions?
That part.
No.
Yes.
This club is doing badly.
If I show up and I cry, people will be very uncomfortable.
Yes.
But crying is normal. It just means for that situation, I'm overwhelmed. And how do I do it? I cry.
Yes.
So this sadness is a normal emotion. I would be very worried if you've never been sad. It shows you're not human. We get happy, we get hungry. Like, it's a normal emotion, but we're very uncomfortable with emotions, even with our children. You're like, stop crying. You shouldn't tell someone to stop crying. Why are they crying? We should be comfortable with what the other person is feeling, because truly that's what they're feeling. You don't have to invalidate. Like, you shouldn't be sad. I am sad. Whether the reason I'm sad makes sense to you, it really doesn't matter. Or the reason is so small, I shouldn't react the way, like I'm crying and you're thinking, you shouldn't cry over that. But for me, that is big. So just allowing others to express their sadness, their tears, their anger, their outburst, as long as it doesn't infringe on anyone's space, and not trying to invalidate them, and not trying to get them out of it. Most of the time, we'll stop crying at some point. We'll stop being sad at some point. So not invalidating and trying to brush off and try to cover up so that we can move on, so that all of us are comfortable, which is what we do a lot. Yes.
It's quite enlightening, and I'm really, really happy. This is not the kind of conversations that we have, and they are for other people. It feels like it is for me, as I represent many other Kenyans, you know, who are tuned in today. And I don't know, maybe, David, I don't know, what is the first time you heard of the word depression? Because I remember, I think probably for me was probably 17, 18 years, and I still didn't understand it. Because you show up in hospital and you have a condition that is physical, and they check everything for that physical condition, and they don't find anything that could cause it. So what they say is this can be caused by stress or depression. So that was the first time. And to date, when I am quiet for a bit at home, I'm not talking to my folks, my mom is like, unajua vitu zote za stress na depression zinarudingi, zitarudi. We can't allow you to be, you know. So sometimes even with that, at that point, I did not know what it is. Kwa kitu yangu tu ni stress, pengine kuna kitu inanisumbua. And as a teenager, there's so many other things zenye zinakusumbua. But David, when was the first time that you ever heard of that word?
I can tell you the first time I heard about stress and depression was probably in high school. You hear people are depressed and normal stress. And then in university, I later heard it. It was just there. But later on, when for me, my first time when I was told I was depressed was January 2024.
January 2024, this last year.
Last year.
Yes.
So 2023 was a very good year for me. I had done several things. I had just gotten back from, I had done a project. I had gotten back from University of Warwick. So I got here like in September, October. So I was doing my project, wrapping up my project. So immediately wrapping up the project, I was hoping the project will go on. Unfortunately, the project was terminated. So immediately the project was terminated was around November. And then immediately I got into December, early start of December, my dad fell sick and died within a very short time period. So my dad died like on the 9th, and on the 15th of December now my project now, everything was wrapped up. So that's now I had to handle everything, and I personally understood normally what people do is just, you know how people do funerals on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday you're back to work.
Yes.
So I expected that. So I did that, and after I did all the funeral, everything, running up and down, organizing everything. So I got back here on late December. It was during the holidays. Everything went well. And then unfortunately I fell sick with malaria. That's when I fell sick, and that's when everything hit me. Yeah. So that's when I was lucky enough to get to hospital, and that's when I met Dr. Muia, and she was able to assist me because I did not know what was going on.
Okay. I mean, and let's explore that a little bit. So 2 major losses happen back to back,
Yeah.
that you don't even have time to grieve the first one, and then the second one happens. And then, you know, like you say, so you put all your emotions on hold because then you have to do a lot of running around, organizing all these things. And so like how are you functioning? If that is even...
Can we just hold that as you marinate on that question? We've got Joy from Migori.
We have a call on the line.
We've got Joy from Migori on the line. Hi, Joy.
Hi, Mikali.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Karibu sana, unataka kuchangia on today's conversation?
Ningependa kuchangia mada ya leo.
Okay.
Okay, I would like to say, first of all, the question is very triggering.
Okay.
The fact that unafaa ukae ufikirie like mental health, you know, people don't take it seriously. Hello?
All right.
Yes.
First of all, you see, the fact that mtu anaweza kaa chini and I think it releases some stress, some mental health. It releases some stress from you, like writing down, crying. I would advise at least the Gen Zs, you see, they are getting those depressions because of hawezi kaa chini waandike, like writing down whatever you are feeling, writing down your emotions, crying out your emotions alone. Like unakumbuka venye tulikuwa tunaambiwa jikalishe kikao, you get?
Yeah.
Yeah, like unajikalisha kikao, unajiuliza what is wrong with me, like writing down. I think that is one thing that has made me release some depression out of me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Joy.
All right.
And we have Xavier from Busia. Hello, Xavier.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm all right.
Great. You want to be probably Changia part of the conversation we're having today?
Yeah, okay. This is our world, eh?
Yes.
This is your world, eh?
Yes, this is your world.
Daktari, I've just walked in.
All right. Xavier, do you want to speak up a little bit?
I hope I'm on the right trajectory.
Yes.
But I just talking about depression. First of all, I'm a student. I'm doing my doctorate.
All right.
I'm in the early 60s. And I'll tell you something. Depression is very normal.
Okay.
Particularly now that I've gone through various phases. But this final phase, when I'm doing my doctorate, I get depressed. And the moment I get out of depression, I find a solution to a problem that is harassing me, particularly when my supervisor is so difficult.
Okay.
Okay.
So, to me, depression is very normal. It's only sometimes you tend to think that it's the end of the world when you're depressed. Because when you're doing your doctorate, you're doing PhD, it is at a stage where you get depressed so much that you send yourself into some kind of enclave. in your own world. And then you start thinking, but when you come out of that world, you found a solution, or you become happy after you found a solution to the problem.
Okay.
That is now the stage where now I'm seeing I'm also a part-time lecturer.
Right.
But every time you see somebody, a person who has never gone through depression, or a situation where you think the world is coming to an end, or you think everybody hates you, or you think that because you're not somebody, you think that's the end of the world, then there's something that is very, very not normal with you.
Okay.
But for me, even in marriage, I've been married.
Yes, Xavier.
Even in marriage, you get depressed. You're thinking in a situation where you don't even appreciate yourself sometimes. You wonder, why am I married? Why should I have got it? Why did I get married to this person?
Xavier, Xavier.
You don't even want to face it.
Xavier.
I have questions for Xavier.
It's like that from a frying pan to fire. So depression is very normal.
Okay.
It involves in all our lifestyle.
All right. Xavier.
Whether you are poor, rich, depression is part of life.
Okay.
And once you appreciate that aspect,
yes,
you always overcome depression. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Xavier. Yeah, I got things to say.
I have a lot of questions. Is he on the line? Can I just ask one question?
Yes.
So, Xavier, when you say you feel depressed and then you find a solution and then you become okay, like what is that for you? When you say you're depressed during that phase, what exactly does that look like for you, so that I really understand when you say depression is normal?
Xavier, Winnie, you can take that up again.
This is what I do most of the time.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example to explain the scenario trying to get to get an answer.
Okay.
Let's assume you're walking from a drive spell, and then all of a sudden you get into a rainy scenario. How do you feel? Now, when you're in depression, as for me, I'm giving my own example.
Okay.
Like, there's a time when I got in depression and I said, why should I really be easy when other people are happy? But then, I sent myself in another world. I said, why are they happy, yet I'm not happy myself? Then I started finding a solution. In other words, when I find myself in that depression, I hated myself for a while. But then when I came out of this, I got the life I wanted, not the things that I wanted. The answers, like I'm going to give an example, academic example. I wanted to find out, like I was doing this review. Actually, I was doing a framework, theoretical framework, if you understand it. Then I could not get an answer. Then I said, let me abandon this. Why should I be harassing myself? But then after a while, I went and slept for a long, long time, not for many hours actually. But then when I came out of that slumber, I felt a break. In other words, the depression came to you in a world that you don't want, yet it's giving you an example. It's trying to explain to you that everything has a reason why it happened.
Okay. All right.
Sometimes I don't see it now, but it may not come out very clearly. You are staying in not even a world of change. You don't even understand it, but somehow you send an answer. But in other words, my explanation is depression is part of life. Where you go, it varies from individual to individual, and the scenario in which you are in. It is varies from individual to individual, and the scenario in which you are in. But depression can never be the end of life.
Can never be what?
It brings you another world. It gives you an answer to your problem.
All right.
It explains to you that life is not what you think it is, but it can be better.
Okay.
None of your challenge yourself.
All right.
Like me, I always get challenged. When I get depressed, and then there are different levels of depression.
Okay.
There's a different level of depression.
Yeah.
There's depression where you think the world is coming to an end. There's depression where you're disappointed.
Yes.
There's depression where you've not gotten what you wanted, what you're thinking.
All right.
That you don't get.
Okay, Xavier.
So,
I think we will.
And like I want to agree with one of the panelists here.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's Dr. who said.
Yes.
If you're never going through depression, then chances are you are not normal, or you're pretending that you is not depression. But by the way, many people who pretend that
Xavier, we will have the Daktari clear things up for that, but thank you so much. Thank you so much for your contribution.
Oh, he's gone. Okay.
Okay. We have Adams from Nairobi, and we'll pick this just before we go on break, and then we'll have the doctor answer. Hi, Adams. Hello.
Meeting.
Oh, that's still Xavier.
Oh, that's still Xavier is still on the line. Okay, great. We're gonna take a quick break. We're going to take a quick break. Then we'll have Daktari and David in studio, and Daktari, of course, clearing a few things from that phone call as well. But yeah, our lines are open. Send in your questions. We have a question for you today.
Yes.
And the question is...
Very simple, but very introspective. The question is, if you could go back in time, what advice would you give your younger self about mental health? If you could go back in time, what advice would you give your younger self about mental health? We'll be going through your feedback after the break. Oh my gosh, so much to think through as far as that question is concerned. But also so much to come on the other side of the break. We'll see you then. All right, welcome back to the show. The show is Your World on this Mindful Monday, and we're tackling a very important conversation that, honestly, if you ask me, we should be having this conversation every single day, and this is as far as mental health is concerned. And May being Mental Health Awareness Month, again, we could not allow this month to end without us talking about it. And the question that we're asking you today is very simple. If you could go back in time and advise your younger self as far as mental health is concerned, what is it that you would advise yourself, okay? Engage with us on our socials, give us a call. Our lines are officially open. And speaking about lines being open, we have a caller on the line, Adams from Nairobi. Good morning. Are you there? Good morning. All right, is Adam still with us, or we've lost him?
Hello? Hello, Adams. How you? Okay. All
right, we lost Adams.
All right.
Okay, so there's a question I had asked you, David, but before that, Daktari, hey, depression is normal. You will find solutions. You move on. Marriage, so many things. And I think he also said that you said what depression is normal, and if you're not depressed, you're not normal. Please let's
unpack
that. Yes,
it's important to clarify.
Yes.
We were talking about emotions. The sadness, the happiness, the anger, and all that. Emotions are normal.
Yes.
Okay? So we all have seasons we are sad, we have seasons we're happy. So in his statement, sadness, we've all been sad. Yes. There's no one who can say they've never been sad. But that sadness is not equal to depression.
Okay.
So probably at this point, we need to clarify what depression is so that it's clear for all of us. When we say I am depressed, we actually truly mean depression.
Okay.
From the definition of it. So when we say someone is depressed, they have persistently been sad or in low mood for more than 2 weeks.
More than 2 weeks? That's the timeline.
That's the timeline.
Okay. And I'd like for us to pick up a call. I'm sorry, Daktari. But Adams is back before we lose him again. Adams, hello.
Yes, hello.
Karibu sana. Unataka kuchangia mada yetu ya leo? Okay.
Thank you so much. So I really appreciate this opportunity. And I would want to contribute briefly. So to me, I think matters mental health and even the issues to do with depression, it is something that is real. And I wouldn't take it, okay, like the way Xavier was contributing and saying that maybe depression is something that is normal.
Yeah.
I think the problem begins with when we normalize a problem. And to me, I had quite a traumatic personal experience somewhere in 2022, where I got, I'd sought some treatment at one of the private hospitals in Nairobi.
Okay.
I'll not mention the name. Yeah, but while I was undergoing the treatment, I went back to see the doctor to review my treatment, because I think there was an element of overdose in what I was being treated for, some kind of nerve-related disorder.
Okay.
But then in the process, I was not handled properly. On that day, the doctor didn't come. Then somebody came and injected me with some anesthetic drugs, which were meant to kind of probably to lower down my pressure in terms of the way I was reacting. But it ended up getting complicated. I just found myself asleep, and I was forcefully transferred to some place. I think it's a place that probably deal with maybe mental-related issues. Though at that time, I'd not shown any signs of having such a kind of an issue. But I was injected with this drug just because I told the nurse I was not going to continue the treatment until when I see the doctor. And they mistook it probably to be something like maybe I'm losing my temper or I'm reacting too much.
Okay.
So I was given an injection which was meant to make me sleep as I wait for the doctor. But I think they gave me too many injections, I think about 5. And that affected my condition. I was not able to get back even to my feet for quite some time, and I suffered quite a serious, it became a little bit serious, because almost for 2 years, I couldn't walk. And in the process, when I was still dealing with that, because the hospital didn't take that responsibility in terms of what came up, then I also lost my job in the process. So it became quite an experience, because you are dealing with the issue of the medical issue, then now there is this loss in terms of work and all that. And sometimes during that particular time, I realized that there are things that you can go through which sometimes either you are the only one who can understand, or maybe somebody experienced in that line like Daktari, what basically Daktari is doing now to try to help people. And I believe that mental issues is something that actually should be taken very serious. And at the moment, at least, we should be able to have maybe a mental desk at every health facility, and even in certain public departments or public places where people can be able to access help wherever they need it. Because sometimes when you share some of these things with other people who do not understand, just like the Dr. was saying, sometimes you want to react to something and somebody tells you, you see, you are a man, men are not supposed to cry. Or to complain, then you end up being isolated. Because sometimes nobody wants to listen to you. Probably how even you got into that particular situation. And that complicates things to the level that if you are not resilient enough, because even like me, there's a time I tried seeking some help, but then of course, because of cost issues to do with in terms of, taking care of the bills in relation to the sessions that I was attending, I was not able to finish. So at the end of the day, I've just been trying to take it day by day, because already I noticed that things are not normal for me. And no matter sometimes how people misunderstand the whole thing. So once you understand where you are in this particular situation, so at least you are able to self-regulate yourself in a manner that you don't subject yourself to situations that make your issue to be much more complicated.
All right.
And I'm just hoping that maybe given an opportunity, because I really have a lot to share.
Okay,
maybe
okay.
given an opportunity through your platform, probably one of these particular days.
Yes.
I'd be willing maybe to show up and even to be able to access people like Daktari.
Yeah.
Right.
And just to see how I can contribute and probably how
help people.
People that are experiencing the same thing, they can be able to go over it. Especially for us men, it becomes much more complicated because the society has placed us on a high pedestal.
Yeah.
Such that even when you have got certain issues, you don't just say, you know, like for ladies, it is easier to go somewhere and begin to talk about something. But for men, always you want to really
keep it in.
Sometimes you smile too much even when things are really so bad.
All right.
And that's why sometimes you talk to people and when you part briefly, when you hear somebody has committed suicide or something like that.
Okay.
Because people are not opening up because of what the society has placed on them. The society will judge you.
Okay, Adams. Thank you so much for that contribution. Of course, we will try and see what we can get from Daktari today. I hope you'll stay tuned in till the end of the show. Asante sana for that contribution.
Wow. Yeah, that was heavy. That was heavy.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Adams, for going all through that, and I hope that he will get the help that he needs, because he said cost is a very big thing, and Daktari, I think, would also want to hear from you in terms of what do we do to at least make it easy and accessible for people. But before that, you were talking about depression, and
separating that
what
from
it looks
emotions.
like, and yes.
So we had started talking about depression, and we said it's when you are persistently sad, you're in low mood for more than 2 weeks.
Yes.
And you have no interest in the things you previously would enjoy. For example, if you love football and there's that excitement you get from football. So there's your team playing that day, but you're not excited. You don't enjoy things you usually enjoy. It's not that you don't have a smile. You can have a smile, but inside you're struggling to then go through the day. Your energies are low. Things you normally do without thinking are now such a big task. Like in the morning, you didn't think about going into the shower. It was more of, I need to be at work at this time, you jump into the shower. Someone who's depressed can spend 2 hours trying to convince themselves, I can make these few steps into the shower. I can dress up. Like such things we do without thinking become such an uphill task. It's impossible to do. So you have this low energy, you have changes in your sleep. So some people sleep a lot, others don't sleep. There are times I meet a patient who said, I've not slept for 72 hours, and they can't sleep. It's not that they had something to do, they just can't find sleep. And then eating varies. You're either eating a lot or you don't have appetite. For eating, you can do 3-4 days of not eating, and your body is not feeling like I need to eat. You can't bring yourself to eating. And this is persistent. It's not a day. We're doing many days. And then now your thought process changes from a positive person, like you think positive, now everything is on the negative, like what's the point of living? Where are we going as a country? Like everything, even when people talk to you, they notice all your things are on the negative. It's even hard to hang out with you because it drains the people around you. And then from the negative thoughts, you start thinking, why should I live? And that's when suicidal thoughts come in. And then you start thinking, what ways can I use to end this? Because I'm not seeing the end. I've asked a patient, how do you feel? And they feel like I'm in this dark tunnel where there's no end in sight, there's no light, and it just has to end. So that's the space the individual is going through. And then at this point, it's important to say, so the suicidal thoughts, you plan and you execute it. Depression is not a sign of weakness. It's not a character flaw, and it's a disease like any other. So I wouldn't tell David, get out of malaria, like get yourself out of malaria. We shouldn't tell people to get out of the depressive state. Be strong. It has nothing to do with the weakness or strength or the character of the person. It's a disease like any other. So it's important to say it's not something you get yourself out of. Otherwise, we'll start blaming individuals who are going through a depressive state. Why are you not getting yourself out of it? So it's a disease like any other. That's an important aspect. We don't tell people to get out of meningitis.
No.
We shouldn't tell. Yes, even a flu.
Like,
yes.
A strong person.
Get out of that flu.
Yes. So we shouldn't do the same with mental illness, whether it's an anxiety state, whether it's a depressive state. We recognize. That's why what Adam was saying, we shouldn't normalize it. Because when you normalize it, we allow people to struggle in silence. But acknowledging it's a disease where you need support from those around you and from the medical personnel to get yourself out of it. So it's a disease that needs help.
That needs help.
Yes.
I like that. I like that analogy, because then again, so really goes to show how serious the condition is, because so many people, you know, suffer from depression and don't talk about it or don't report it because of that fear of stigma and all those things. So David, this question before we were went on a break and took the calls. So, you know, back to back, 2 major losses, did have enough time to, not even enough time, did have time to grieve, you know, one and then, you know, the next happens. So how were you doing? Were there things that you noticed that, no, this is not how David, who was okay, would handle things? Are there changes that maybe you noticed during that time, or it was just go, 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 go?
At first it was go, 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 because things have to be done. Like I'm the second eldest and I have my big brother, and we are running things. We have to take care of mom, we have to take care of our sister. So that's how things were running. So within no time, I felt sick and I was admitted at hospital. So when I was in the hospital, that's when luckily the doctors were doing rounds and they noticed I could be having a problem. But I did not see it. But they insisted I get an appointment. So after that, I got out of hospital. An appointment was, I think, 2 or 3 weeks later, because I had serious malaria. And I was in hospital for close to 10 days. Then after that, I needed time out to relax. So, but right now, when I look back, those 2 weeks, there was nothing major I was doing. There was zero motivation. Considering my type of career, I'm a software developer. So I usually do a lot, like just even write things that are not going to be used anywhere. So I used to spend sometimes even 16 to 20 hours a day on things that will not even do anything. So I used to love doing what I used to do. I loved what I was doing. But I noticed in those 2-3 weeks, I did not open my laptop. So when I came back, that's when they now tried to talk to me. And I had a friend who organized most of my friends, and they came and visited me and told me, you need grief therapy. There's something not adding up. But at that moment, I had already noticed there's something not adding up. So after that, I went, and I don't know if I should say the name of the drug. I will not say the name of the drug. They gave me another drug, and I used that drug for about less than 2 weeks, and it wasn't working well for me. So I went back, and they gave me another drug, and they also enrolled me to see a counselor. So that drug worked well for me.
And just still in that stage where you said, so you and your elder brother took care of things, took care of your mom, took care of your sister, just to make sure that they are okay. Was it because you felt that pressure or that responsibility as a man to ensure that you're taking care of everybody else? Where your grief, you put it on the back burner until...
I cannot even say we took care of them. It's just we took care of things. Like, you know...
Things needed to be done.
Things needed to be done.
We are the ones going to do it.
Yes.
It's automatic.
Yes.
It just have to like with the men in the family, so we need to take care of this.
I don't know even if we took care of them. At that moment. Even right now we try, but I don't know if I've managed to really take care of mom and everyone else. Like I don't know. I cannot give positive feedback on, or I cannot fully explain how they're feeling or how they're doing.
Interesting.
How was therapy for you? Had you ever before gone through therapy? I mean, this was the first time it's okay, sir, there's a lot happening and then I have to go talk to someone about what I'm feeling.
I had never gone through therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for some reason, things were working well for me. Like, and I also noticed I had never experienced such loss and grief in my life. Okay. So I'm an adult. I should be, the things that kept asking me is, I'm an adult. I should be able to handle this. Yeah, those were the things that kept on in my head for some time. Yeah. And even going through therapy, I used to tell myself that I'm an adult. I should be able to handle this.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
But I think that makes so much sense because Daktari at the beginning was saying how if there are things that you normally would do. Yeah. Opening that laptop is a normal thing for your everyday.
And the fact that he loved
doing it.
20 hours doing it.
Yeah, but then 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and you don't touch it, you don't open it, then that's just something. Yeah. When you first interacted with David and went through the first session and then it didn't work and then the second drug worked and then therapy came in, what was happening in that space? How did you even identify that there's malaria, yes,
but there's
lakini kuna kitu nyingine hapa inaendelea yenye sio malaria?
When he was in a general ward for the treatment of malaria.
Yes.
So as the other physicians were looking at him, they noticed he's not talking as most patients would. His theory is off. So what they do is they call for a psychiatry review.
Okay.
Yes. So it calls for the people around to notice this is now how Mwikali is. She's bubbly and happy, but now we are not there. Yeah. So those subtle changes of sadness, not happy, not engaging, you're just keeping to yourself, but that's not your usual self. Because there are people who are quiet, that's who they are normally. But someone who's loud and they are now not loud. So that's the picture we were robbed in, because the reason he came to hospital was malaria. It wasn't mental health, but the people were able to notice, no, something is off. Yeah. So with mental health, we have a conversation. How are you doing? So we picked he's had 2 major losses in such a short period of time. Yeah. And then now you look out for those symptoms of how's your sleep? Are you able to eat? How you run in life? And then we notice there's major changes. Yeah. And then now there's a tool we use to just see how severe it is. So at times it's mild, at times it's moderate, severe and profound. Yeah. If it was mild and moderate, we don't necessarily need medication. Then we would have gone to grief therapy, because for him we knew the reason he's here is the losses. So if the symptoms weren't severe enough, you don't need medication. So to dispel the idea that mental illness, there has to be medication, no. So if it's mild, moderate, you're otherwise functioning, just that there's this. So with therapy, it can get you out. But for him, it had moved to severe, sleep wasn't there, and like it was major symptoms. That's why we had to do medication. And then, but the true treatment was the therapy. Because the reason we are in depression is the losses. Medication won't help you deal with the losses. Medication will allow you to sleep and rest, will allow you to have energy and all that. So the treatment was sorting the grief and the losses through the psychologist. So it's important to know the treatment varies depending on what you're dealing with. So if it's a reason we know, someone can walk you through what led you there and help you get out of it. So it can purely be therapy, but at times we do both. Because if you're not sleeping, you won't sit through a therapy session because you're not here. Yes, so we need to get you. That's why initially we did medication, then we went to therapy. Because when you're overwhelmed, you won't do therapy. Okay.
I mean, when the Dr. said there was no sleep, you were like, yes. How long was that? Like, how did that go on for? And how long would you spend without sleep?
The worst, there's a day I did 4 days.
Wow. 4 days with no sleep?
Yes, no sleep. And that's when I know. That's when after that I was introduced to the drugs. And the nice thing is, once I started sleeping, I think I took the sleep meds once, and that was it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I switched to the system.
It was
very
like
fast.
a reset.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And
when you took the meds, like how long did you sleep?
It was not funny because I took the meds while I was still in bed, and I blacked out, like seated.
Okay.
Yeah, so luckily I had somebody in the house, and they came and they thought, now I'm sick. They now wanted to rush me to hospital.
Yeah.
So that's when, after that, when I was waking up, she was explaining to me, oh, this and this. The following day I decided, oh, let me not take that med.
Another one.
Let me take a break as I try to figure things out.
Okay.
That day I slept. I think I slept the whole day, the whole night, and then I had to now try to regulate because it was now becoming a problem. Okay. And I was also eating a lot. And up to now, I've not recovered my weight.
Gone back to the size that you were before.
So that has been a problem, but now it's more of laziness and lifestyle rather than what I should be doing. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I see.
We need to take a break. We need to take a break. And our question today, we've got a bit of feedback on Facebook. If you could go back in time, what advice would you give your younger self about mental health? And Kevin Durango says, help strangers over friends. Friends turn on you. Andrew Ogata says, usiwaamini sana watu ndio hutuweka kwa depression. Joel Kiroge says, never lend money to people who are born in May. They may not pay you back.
Wow, okay.
Harrison Blessed says, I will tell myself that no one cares about you, live in the moment and always fear God, for that comes with great wisdom. No one cares about you. I don't know. Okay. Peeling Awadi says, you will just be fine, darling. It is never that serious, and whatever you do, remember, eating alone is a strength. Let nobody tell you otherwise. Judith Gumba says, don't laugh too much. Jipende kwanza, people always change.
Wait, what? Okay. Okay. I see. I have so many questions, but okay. All right. Someone here on Facebook Live asks, can depression be cured by divine intervention? Can we answer that after the break? Because I know there's a lot of, and not to put you on the spot, Dr. But yeah, so keep asking all your questions, your feedback, if you want to share your journey as well. As far as mental health is concerned, it doesn't necessarily have to be depression. It's just that we focus on depression because that is what David went through. But any other mental health, condition, illness, disorder, feel free to ask all your questions. Dr. is here, David as well, to answer, all of them. But also, we'll go through your feedback after the break. So do stay with us. The show is Your World. We'll see you very shortly. Welcome back. 11:06. I was about to say 11:06 is the time, and that means we are officially in the second hour of the conversation, and we really want to understand more about mental health. Dr. Harry mentioned a little bit about depression, but there's so many other mental health disorders that are affecting so many people, and sometimes people don't know. And the other question about, is it okay to just say you're depressed without being clinically diagnosed with depression? Where do we start with that? Dr. Harry will also help us with that. But we have a very simple question, but very deep at the same time. And the question is, if you could go back in time and advise your younger self about mental health, what would it be? What is it that you would tell yourself? We really, really are keen to hear what you have to say. There you have it. If you could go back in time, what advice would you give your younger self about mental health? At NTV Kenya, both on Facebook and on X, is how you can reach us. Give us a call. The lines are open, but also use our WhatsApp number, 0112-500-400. And help us understand, what is it that you would advise your younger self as far as mental health is concerned? As you think about it, okay? The whole question about divine intervention and depression, can it be cured by divine intervention? Doctor, where do you see, what is it that you tell this person? And not to put you on the spot.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's no a yes or no answer to that question.
Yeah.
Okay. Like the callers have been calling in, you've realized mental health is not caused by one thing. Yeah. It's an interplay of a lot of things, spirituality included in it. So the treatment of mental health is also not one thing. It's all these other things. Okay, so there's room for medication, there's room for therapy, there's room for self-care, there's room for all that. There's also room for spiritual help. We've had situations where we are seeing a patient, but they're very strong on their spiritual aspect. So we are allowing their spiritual leader to come in. Because we are not against each other, we are working together. So they are still able to get the spiritual help they need, but we still continue with medication. We still continue with therapy. The reason I wouldn't allow it to just be said that you can purely use because the risk will be if you have a spiritual inclination and you're prayed for and it doesn't work, it means you're not strong in you. Which is not true. Which is not true. Yes, there's room for prayers and the spiritual help. Yes, but there's room for the others. The same way with physical illness, we don't purely say you'll be prayed and malaria goes away. So the same way with mental illness, it's a disease like any other. So it needs medical. If you're in the spiritual inclination, yes, please come in. Yes, all of them will work together rather than one or the other. Yes, I think that's more of the truth.
But we've gotten to a point where David had told us that amefanya therapy, now you're in grief therapy. And I'm imagining if you're taking the pill, there's someone in the house who thought, aya tukurudishe hospitali because I don't know what's happening with you right now. And this opens up the conversation to stigma and isolation, when now you get to have these conversations with people around you and tell them this is what is happening, this is what the doctors say, this is what I need to do to be able to, you know, come back to self. How was that with the people around you?
Personally, I think I grew up tough. Stigma was not a thing. I did not even, it was not even something that was an issue. Because I knew I had a problem. Like once everyone else in my environment is noticing I have a problem. So if I don't solve the problem, it will just mess myself up. And my friends came for the first time, like I had like all of them, you know, as boys we just meet up outside. But the fact that they came to the house and they were like, boss, you need help. We'll find a way to sort it. So that was a really, really, like I need to take action. So that helped. And also, another thing is, another thing that also helped is, there is a day a friend of mine came and just told me, you've not been doing anything, I have a project for you, can you do this project? And that was a big like wake-up call. I did the project, a project that was supposed to take me like a month or two. I did it in less than a week. So that was a big comeback. So I managed to get back to myself.
And then this continued for how long? Because you also suffered another loss and relapsed.
That was, I had a friend who committed suicide later, but that just happened in October last year. So that's what made me relapse, but that is understandable.
I mean, and I can tell it's still fresh. Oh man, I'm so sorry. I really am sorry.
We've got Mercy on the call. From Machakos. Hi, Mercy.
Hi, thank you, my dear.
Mzuri sana.
That topic is so much starting, Myself had a very bad depression. Work every day. I even wanted to commit suicide.
Mercy.
It was a very bad situation and a very long story. But in a miraculous way, God in a God's way miraculous. I met with coffee infused with Gallonama lucida.
Which
I only took for 1 month. because before nipate, I tried so many vile ningejimaliza nijitoe kwa hii dunia. Because I thought there was no hope for me, there was no tomorrow. But in a period of 2 weeks, everything was okay.
Okay.
Then I went on for 1 month.
All right.
And now it's like 9 years back.
All right.
The issue completely healed.
Okay.
And the day I started consuming that coffee infused with Ganoderma lucida, that was the end of my issues.
Okay.
It cleared the depression in a period of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But I consumed it for 1 month.
Okay.
Now in the course, I was also ill from asthma. I was also asthmatic. And during the time I was on depression, I was consuming 12 tablets of paracetamol on daily basis. Daily.
Okay.
12 daily. Can you imagine all that?
Yeah.
And I thought, by the way, I think there was no completion. And now that's what I'm now. I normally sell that coffee. Na imesaidia watu wengi sana because what made me to have that impression.
Yeah.
My second son alikuja akapata issue. Ya kuumwa na magoti alafu akaparalyze. Kutoka hii mpaka chini. The boy got paralyzed completely and the boy could not walk again. Then I was in very great debt. Because the issue consumed 200,000. And it was loan money.
Yeah.
My husband left me.
Oh my gosh.
There was no hope. Everyone was against. No one could understand me. Even including our people. But there's a God in them because my son, Curtis of the court, was also healed. He's now in grade 3. Miguu ikarudi sawa, you know, walks nicely. Na pia akikimbia ndio anakuja number 1.
Yes.
Na mile na nisaishanga siku kuva because sikuwa na ombi ingine. So I was just trying to bring a solution.
Yeah.
And both goes for 4,500. Na inasaidia watu wengi. The stories I'm hearing from your show, they are so moving.
Yeah.
And I can that because one time I was there.
Asante sana Masi. Asante Masi.
Yes, so there's that coffee.
Yeah, okay.
You can also say my number.
Okay.
Because I think solution is kusaidia watu sio watu kuzika watu. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you Masi. Asante sana.
Yeah. Yeah, heavy. But thank you. I mean, that's a sign of strength.
Yes.
You know, to just call and share and to help as many people out there. Because again, like Masi said, there's so many people who are going maybe through even worse, but they don't know what to do, who to talk to, where to get help, and even if it's possible to come out on the other side. But hey, David is here today, and Masi and so many others who've called, you know, to say, hey, this is what I went through, and you know, I found help, and you know, there's light on the other side. So thank you, Masi, for that. This is heavy. No.
I know.
I don't even know where to go. But Doc, do you want to talk a little bit about relapse? And if that is, what does that even look like? And is it worse when, you know, you relapse because you've gone through it the first time? So when it hits you, is it sometimes worse, or do you have people who sort of like have the tools to then realize that they have relapsed and, you know, what to do?
Okay. Brings in the aspect where recovery from mental health disorders is never linear. Like it's never very straightforward. It's very varied depending on an individual, but it's achievable. Okay? Because you are not removed from life. It doesn't mean once you go through a difficult season, that's it for you. Okay? snowballs will keep being thrown at you. The difference is, after the initial diagnosis, you are now aware of it. You're very self-aware, and you know what depression looks like. So when it comes back again, you're able to tell something is not right. And if you're empowered enough, you're able to reach out. You're able to reach out and come for help. Case in point, like David, he had been stable, off meds, doing amazing. And by the time he came back the second time, it wasn't like the first time, because he came pretty early. It was like, doc, something is off. So it was easy to pick it up and intervene early. So you see, with any early intervention, the treatment is faster. Okay? So once you've walked the journey, you're now more self-aware. And then also with therapy, you're taught ways to cope, ways to deal with stresses of life, because life will never be without stress. So if it happens again, what do you do? And then the behavioral changes which you put in. You're very intentional about your mental health. So these things act as a cushion to help you. And then also, like what David said, if you have a social capital around you, it helps. You can't compare with someone who will be alone, because people around will surround you and get you the help they need and hold you through the journey. So it's not linear, it's very dynamic, and it's affected by a lot of things. But recovery is achievable. We've had people who, after the initial episode, they have been off meds and they are okay. But at this point, it's important to say depression can be twofold, in the sense that it can be a reaction to something. So it's a reactive depression, like it's the loss then put you into depression. So if it's a reaction to something, once we sort the initial cause, then you'll be well. Okay? There's depression where your life is perfect. There's no reason why you need to be depressed. We call it endogenous, which is now a chemical imbalance in the body. There's no reason we can pick, even when we have conversation and analyze. There's no specific reason why you're unwell. It's a chemical imbalance which presents with the symptoms of depression. And probably you have a family history of depression or mental illness. So that picture is different. So now we use medication to bring a balance to the chemical imbalance. And you see now this is different. So we use medication for pretty long. Yes. You see that. So there is nothing we are helping you to deal with. Because you have no control over the imbalance in the body. This is the picture where someone is doing amazing in their career, their family setup is doing amazing, and people are wondering, why are you sad? Even themselves, they can't give you a reason. Like there's nothing, financially they're good, career-wise they're on top of their space at that time. But they are depressed, they can't wake up, they're not sleeping. The symptoms are real. So this is endogenous, and medication helps to bring the balance of the neurotransmitters, and you're able to be well. So at times, not all depression have a reason. Yes.
Then, my mind is going everywhere, because I'm wondering if it's innate and it's happening inside me. Is there a way to have like, signs or indicators? Am I able to pick them out as I go, or it's everything at once and it happens and now I have to come get help? Because with the other one, if it's reactive, then when something happens and I'm aware of all of the things that probably have gone through treatment before, then I am aware when something big happens, probably the capacity or the ability to handle that I might just need a bit of help to do that. But when it's the hormones, are there indicators to be like, and is therapy also an option for them?
Yes. There's the bit where it doesn't flood. Symptoms gradually come in, and the intensity worsens over time. Okay, you'll notice a change. Today I've done 2 hours of sleep. Tomorrow I'm doing 1 hour. Like it's never pop. You start seeing changes. I'm not as interested as before. I'm not achieving whatever I'm doing at work. So it's gradual. You can notice for the past 1 week, things have not been been working. Like David is really good at what he does. He's able to do work in hours that takes. So he's able to tell, today I've sat on the comp and I have not achieved. So every person defines what is normal. You get. So you know how you usually function. So a change in your usual functioning is a telltale sign there's something. It doesn't have to be extreme. Yes, and coming for we need to normalize going for therapy, even when you're not. Yes, I've had patients sit on the couch and they're like, I don't know what it is, but I want you to find out if I'm okay. And it would be beautiful if a lot of us did that. The people who come in and at the end of it, we don't have a diagnosis. Because there is no diagnosis. So it's more of you had these challenges and you have figured out they're there and you're now seeking help for it. Okay? Yes.
All right. You know, someone is saying, this is Emmanuel Odro, who says, sadly, broken parents are the source of their children's mental issues. I mean, listen, we'll address that in a second. It can be. Yes, can be. Yeah, because they say broken people break other people. So, I mean, But David, so Doc says the second time, you went in earlier. So what is it that you noticed and you said, no, listen, something is not right and I need to seek help?
Shut down. Like I lost a friend, unfortunately, and I did not expect she was okay and it was just sudden. So I knew like this is not normal for me. And I remember it was at the beginning of the week and immediately that week I did nothing. Like luckily I'm good at what I do, so I can stay like the whole week I did nothing. The following week I did nothing, so it went like 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm at the computer. So I have a Nini that tracks my time. So at the end of the day, I see I've done only 4 minutes, and I've been from morning to evening in the office. So immediately I noticed, there's something wrong. So I booked an appointment and went there. So that I was able to, like, within, I can say within a month, I was back to where I need to be.
Good.
So this time it did not take that long. And I was able also to continue working and get some income, because also, unfortunately, I don't know what we can do, but it's also very expensive. If you get government drugs from the government hospital, it's a bit cheap. But if you what I pay for from a government hospital for 1 month is just drugs here for 4 days outside here. So it can be very expensive.
And we look at the gaps, I think, after the break, the gaps, and what is it that we can, now that you know what that feels like in terms of either accessibility and affordability of the same, what is it that needs to be done so that so many people, someone actually called and said, it's expensive and can't access it. So what is it that we need to do? And also, Dr. so for so many people, like you rightly put, therapy can be quite scary. You know, it's going deep and uncovering and unmasking all this. It's difficult. It's very difficult. And it's true, most people would actually go for therapy when there's something wrong. But how do we then change that narrative? That say you experience symptoms here and there, or you just go talk, you know, sort of like prevent before it hits you. How do we change that narrative?
This conversation right here is aimed at doing that. Because you see, the more we are having open, honest conversation, and someone realizes, I'm not alone. People are, then they are empowered enough to speak up and get help. You'll agree with me, 10 years ago, we weren't having as open mental health conversation.
That's true.
So we're in a better space, but we can get there. Just normalizing not being okay, normalizing struggles. Like, you struggling doesn't mean you need to stick there. It just means you can get help for it. Okay? So having this conversation, social media, people are realizing I can just walk into, book a therapy session. The other bit is, if you go to a public or a private hospital, you've seen the general physician just mention, can I see a psychologist? Or can I have mental health services? Probably it's not the reason that took you there, but you can tell I'm struggling with something. Yes, the situation at home is volatile. Just mention, and then you'll be sent. There's mental health departments in most
hospitals, actually.
I work in a government, a public hospital, and that's where I've been seeing David from I work in Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Hospital. And you find a lot of public hospitals have these services. And then, of course, the cost in public hospitals is
better. I mean, he just gave us the reference point. Yes. We've got a caller, Olive from Nairobi. Hi. Hi, Olive.
Hi, how are you?
I am well. Please, join in on the conversation.
Okay. I have a question.
Yes.
And a comment sort of.
Okay.
I was wondering whether it's okay maybe to get the doctor's number.
Okay.
Yes, because sometimes you want to see these doctors, but sometimes you don't know where to get them.
All right. Yeah.
And also, can she maybe briefly discuss about the cost of their consultations? Because sometimes a lot of people suffer because they can't get access to them.
Absolutely, Olive. Maybe Daktari, you can share number, maybe location, how they can get in touch with you.
Okay. So I work in Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Hospital. So when you call the hospital, the number is 1558, and you say you're booking for a psychiatrist review, you'll get an appointment and you'll get to see us. Yes.
To redeem your number?
So the number for Kenyatta University, it's toll-free, 1558.
Okay.
Yes, and then you say you are seeking psychiatry or mental health services. They'll direct you, and then you're able to book an appointment.
Fantastic.
Yes.
And on that note, we're going to take a very short commercial break. We'll be right back. But remember, the question we're asking you today is, if you could advise your younger self, matters mental health, what would you tell her or him, that younger you? What would you tell them? The question is, if you could go back in time, what advice would you give your younger self about mental health? It's NTV Kenya on all our social media platforms. We'll be checking your feedback after this break. Welcome back to Your World. This Mindful Monday, we're talking all matters mental health. And we have Daktari in the building, Dr. Janet Muia, and we have David Bolger. I hope I'm saying those names right. Otherwise, Niko Kuniki Masaka Majina. And as we talk about mental health, we're focusing on how sometimes it's very, very silent. And it's called the silent epidemic because you just probably move through life without knowing what's happening with you or around you, or probably you do not know where or how to get help, or if it exists. So today we are telling you it exists. There is help out there and you can get it. And we are asking you a question today. If you could go back in time, what advice would you give your younger self about mental health? If you could go back in time, what would you advise your younger self when it comes to matters mental health? Winnie, may put feedback.
Let me tell you. So there's someone here, Mary Nguma, who says, I remember some times back, I was like that. I think when you said you did not sleep for like 3 days. So it says it was like that. That nilikuwa nenda kudungwa sindano nilale, nisipolala naanza kujiambia, just close your eyes, you will die in a few, and boom, siku inaisha. Thanks to my mama, you hold me into your arms, and Joyce Richwise favor. I would live to pray God to keep blessing you. You are a reason I am this today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Then someone else says, still on the same, says 3 days, that was kawaida for me. I used to go for up to 5 days without sleeping with severe hallucinations.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Is hallucination part of the symptoms to look out for when it comes to no sleep and, you know, indicators of depression?
Mental health condition or depression in general.
I don't know, but I'll tell you from my experience.
Yes.
One thing that happens when you don't sleep after a certain time period is like your body forgets to sleep. Okay. Now, if you try to sleep, it doesn't happen.
Yeah. Okay.
And then most of the time, you'll start forgetting stuff. and you start mixing memories with the reality. So it can happen.
It can happen.
Yeah, I experienced it, but I don't know if it's a common
thing for everybody.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Daktari?
So the purpose of sleep is rest.
Yes.
So if you don't rest for a while, hallucinations are essentially a perceptual disturbance, where you're getting a senses from the 5 senses, but they're not there. So if you've not rested, you can have hallucinations, but hallucinations are not the classic symptoms of depression, but you can have a major depressive episode with psychotic features. So psychotic features are now there, they're hallucinations. Yes, right. So it's not always part of it, but it can
it can be
as
a result of probably not being able to sleep or rest.
Yes.
Okay.
Or part of the depressive illness. Yes. Okay. And it's treatable.
It is treatable.
Yes.
We've got a few more feedback when it comes to the question of the day. What would you advise your younger self? Someone says to go where I'm loved, supported, and appreciated. Someone says, I tell my younger self to breathe. It will pass. Tell my younger self to always choose yourself first. If I could have or get another chance back, I could choose not to push. I could choose not to something again in life. And then another one, I tell my younger self that mental health is equally as important as physical health, if not more important.
The one who said breathe.
Yeah. Wow. Did you feel it?
Yeah, I felt it.
Yeah. Because I think we underestimate the power of breathing.
Just breathe.
We underestimate it.
Yeah. Someone here on X says, this is Karen Koech, who says, I would tell my inner child to allow myself to feel the emotions, what Daktari was talking about, and continues to say, understand that I had to lose that mental health to find it. Sometimes it's feeling unloved that sends us to licking love from knives that get hurt and love ourselves out of it. Wow.
Wow.
Hey.
Wow.
Yeah.
Someone says, I tell my younger self to always ask for assistance. It can't be that bad. It can't be that bad. Someone says, I tell my younger self it's okay not to be okay. Someone else says, I tell my younger self seeking professional help is underrated. If you can, please do. Seeking professional help is underrated. If you can't, please do.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. So I can see our time is far much spent and there's so much to cover. And especially in terms of how are we doing as a country? All right? Because, again, there was the mental health task force that was formed. And first of all, one of the things that they said is declare mental illness a national disaster. And then establishment of a mental health and happiness commission, increased funding for mental health services, formation of county mental health councils, creation of a directorate of mental health and substance use, addressing stigma and enhancing public awareness. So all these were recommendations from the task force. And that's good. But then again, how are we doing on ground?
We are doing better.
We're doing better.
Yes. Okay. The journey towards achieving that has already started. Yes. And we are seeing a lot of conversations on mental health, both in private and public institutions. And the government is now, at the policy level, now acknowledging mental health as a national disaster. And we are rolling. We're not yet there, but we can do better. So counties, yes, are forming county mental health boards. Not all of them, some of them. You'll find some counties are doing amazing, others haven't started. So this is more of decentralizing mental health so that, you see, once you have a commission, then they will have a budget. So that with the budget, now mental health services can be available to everyone. You don't have to come to level 6 or level 5 facilities to see a psychiatrist. You're able to get a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a counselor at lower levels, especially if we have funding and policies guiding towards that. Another big one, decriminalization of suicide.
There's a landmark ruling just this year, right?
Yes.
Still about this. I was reading through it, and it said, so it was actually made in January this year, where the High Court of Kenya ruled that criminalizing attempted suicide is unconstitutional. Because for a very long time there has been a lot of crime.
Even how we say it,
right?
even how we call
committing suicide. It's not the case.
The term we should be saying is death by suicide. Death by road accident. Yes. And then now the courts have moved, but it's a law, so we are back to parliament. Yes, so that's the stage we are at. Because as it is, if you attempt suicide and it's not successful in courts, the police are the ones who pick you. But you agree with me, such a person needs to come to hospital, not
to the other side.
And you see, when it comes with such legal aspect, the stigma grows. We need to be able, I've found someone who's attempted suicide, we handle them with the care they need and get them to a hospital without saying you are a criminal and all that. So we are better, but now it's at parliament. We are hoping now it will be repealed as a law. And you'll be surprised, it's a very old... Yes.
It really is.
But when we have such decisions happening, it's encouraging for the individual or the family that are struggling with mental health issue, because they don't have to keep quiet about it. They can get help, they can speak about it, they can be surrounded by help, the social capital. Even from the callers, people are saying the people who surrounded me. So mental health as a big one on social capital, social support. It's easier when you're working with people than when you're working alone. Yes.
I hear that.
It's a conversation that we're having loudly now. But when we go back to how we grew up and how that conversation probably wasn't that loud. Guidance and counseling is what was available, and it was for Baruo umeandikiwa na boys school, you know, ukitwa guidance and counseling uko na tabia mbaya, you know. How far back should we go when it comes to starting these conversations in our schools, in our curriculums? Is there anything that's happening now that we're talking about it and louder than it used to be back in the day, as some of the things changing from that end?
Yes. The Ministry of Education, in collaboration with the Ministry of Health, are actually making quite major strides in schools. We are now having peer counselors, because it's easier for a peer to listen to the other one than they will feel like I'm talking to my mom.
Science teacher, agriculture, you're not even sure kama kona result slip yako hapo, you know what I mean?
So we have policies and guidelines tagging on mental health in schools. And part of the solutions are peer counselors, mental health clubs. You see, when it is a club, then it's not that thing we don't touch, but it's something we can have a conversation. And I'm loving Gen Zs and Alphas are very aware of their mental health, which is something we can learn from them and build on it. So it is a good space we are in now, and it's for all sectors. It's not for just Ministry of Health. It's everyone. We have a workplace mental wellness policy, which is supposed to be implemented in all institutions, private and public. So where each institution has guidelines and policies to safeguard the employees' mental health. So it's a conversation beyond the health bits.
And David, you take it now to an individual level, right? So how are you doing right now? Because again, there are triggers. It's life, stress happens, work happens, all these things happen. You know, so what are some of the tools that you've learned over time through, you know, your various sessions of therapy that is helping you to, even as you continue with healing and just being okay? What are some of these tools that you have learned to deal with triggers, or just
the first thing I learned, which was very important, and luckily I had stopped taking, is alcohol. You cannot take alcohol. Is the worst thing. It's even worse than all these other drugs. It is the worst form of depressant that is allowed.
That people think helps with depression, but it's worse.
Like, if I'm sure if I wasn't taking, if I was taking alcohol, I would never have recovered. So luckily, I would, when I got into this situation, I had stopped taking it for close to 4 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's all I can tell people. Once you just stop taking alcohol, you can solve 50% of your problems. Then you can handle the rest. 50% of all the stress and everything, I can link it to alcohol.
Oh, interesting. That's interesting.
So what does it do, the alcohol? Does it, because mostly it's used to mask, like ni mesao shida zangu for 5 minutes, then namuka napata zimekuwa 55 because I didn't take care of the one that was just pending. But in terms of like medically looking at it,
and what it affects the brain.
So there's the bit where, like you're saying, you'll take the alcohol to mask. So it will be a form of self-medication. And normally when you're not going through a hard season, you have control. Like you're just drinking alcohol for drinking alcohol. But when you're in a depressive state, you're using it to deal with the lack of sleep, with all this. And the risk of pushing it and overdoing it is moving to a use disorder is very high. And then it makes you not deal with the issue.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I wake up in the morning, I start drinking. But if you're sober, you're able to say, I'm not working, I need to get help. So it's when actually we say, if you're going through a hard season, avoid it, even when you're taking it. Because chances of you losing control and spiraling into something different, and now we'll start dealing with the depression and the use disorder of alcohol or whatever substance. So we have increased whatever it is we need to deal with. So at this point, it won't be for leisure.
No.
It will be a form of self-medication.
Because you're using it, how many medication on Andikiangwa 2 times 3, right? So this is exactly what you're doing. It's not for leisure anymore, it's 2 times 3. The moment I wake up to reality.
And most of the time it happens, you get stressed, you get drunk. Before you notice the alcohol is affecting your stress, there's a crime there. So before you're trying to treat, you're trying to treat so many things.
It's like a circle.
It's a circle, Maybe you got drunk and you were driving drunk or something. So
there's so many things that you can stop.
The only solution for me, I can tell you, just stop alcohol. You'll solve 50% of your mental health problems.
And Winnie, you asked something else about the tools that probably you use to probably cope. And I think it was Joy who talked about journaling, maybe therapy, maybe continuously. What are some of the things that you do to just make sure that you are probably aware? Like just exercise where you just show up every day and just be like, misuli itakuwa strong. You know, working and that as well.
Strong.
Exercise a lot. Unfortunately, I've been a bit low. But I also do a lot of online courses, like I try to study here and there.
Something to give you,
something to give me an edge. And improve on. It also helps improve on my income.
Are you on medication currently?
No, I'm not on medication. But I can say I'm on the medication. I'm still in therapy.
That is the one thing we're normalizing on this conversation today. It's like it's okay, and you don't have to wait till you know things have gone career to just be able to go back to or to go for therapy.
And also, Daktari, I've had a lot of people say sometimes when they were in that state, the depressive state, and they're given medication, some people tend to get addicted to the medication. So I don't know how then do we prevent, because now when we're trying to solve a problem without necessarily
creating
another problem.
This is part of the misconception. Because the reason you needed medication, there was a reason. So getting medication to solve an issue isn't dependence. You get the difference. There's a space where you're using medication which you don't need. Then that is different. But you're in a space where you have no energy, you are not sleeping, you're not eating. You use medication to solve the problem. And once the problem is solved and you're in a stable state, we're able to get out of medication. So you see, once, because I get a lot of that, Daktari, don't give me medication because I'll be dependent on it. But we are using medication for a reason. And David is here. He can sleep without the medication because we are able to get out of that space of I needed medication to sort to get sleep. Once you're out and you're stable for a while, you're able to get out of medication and function normally. So it's a misconception we have of I will get addicted to it. Yes, then you're fearing, but you're getting medication for a reason.
Okay.
Yes, so it's not a dependence.
So then do you give people tools to help them understand, listen, you're given this medication for a reason, and once you are out of it, please do not self-medicate, because some people would go, see, I know the kind of medicine that I was given.
Yes.
And if I start feeling bad, I'll just go over the counter and get that medication.
Bad day at the office.
You know, and then before you know it, so the self-medication aspect is what you're saying. Please don't do it.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
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 Use the medication for a reason, and then
Yes.
Yeah. Our time is up.
Is it? Oh, no.
Okay, but then we can have your parting shot as well before we let you go.
Then I need to say, don't stop medication without your doctor telling you.
Oh, that too.
Yes.
Okay.
It's the person who prescribed the medication who will tell you we've achieved what we needed, then we will stop. And we don't stop up, we taper off and eventually stop.
Yeah.
I felt that needed to be said before I decide Daktari on TV saying.
Your final parting shot, this being Mental Awareness Month.
Yeah.
I would say, answering your question, what would I tell my younger self?
Yes.
I would tell myself to be very protective of my mental health and mental well-being and not take things personally. Because the truth about life is people do things because of them, not because of us. And a lot of time we get overwhelmed, it's because we've carried a lot of what was said and done to us. Not necessarily intending to harm us, but it's the space the others were in. So I would say let's be very protective about our mental health and seek help in public hospitals, in private hospitals. Help is available.
David?
My parting shot is still the same. Just avoid alcohol. 50% of your problems are
solved.
Yes.
I like that.
Gone.
I like that.
What did you tell your younger self?
You know, I have been thinking about it throughout the show. I think two things. One would be it's okay to say no. And no is
it's a complete sentence.
It's a complete sentence. It's okay to say no. And two, I would say breathe. Breathe. Just breathe. It's gonna be okay. Just breathe. But also seek help. What would you say?
I would ask for help more. I would try and remind myself to be okay with everything else around me not being okay and the people around me not being okay, that it's not my responsibility to make sure that everybody is okay, to carry and to people please and know as well. It's a lot, my God. Umesema kuna slot. That is what we have for you today. Oh my God. But we have a video. We have a video for you. And we have a birthday wish.
Oh, yes.
We have a birthday wish.
It's not all doom and gloom. Let's end the show on
a high.
Happy note. And someone here wants us to wish someone a happy birthday, okay? So says, good morning. I hope you're doing well. A small favor. My wife's birthday is today. Please help me make her day, a small message, a WhatsApp or a small video. So
no, we're not doing that. We are doing it on live TV.
Okay, we say happy birthday. No, we don't have
Caroline Jerry.
Oh no, her name is Caroline Jerry, and this is from Justo. Hey, Caroline, Justo amesema happy birthday. So I hope you have the best day yet and the best year yet. Happy birthday from your world.
Yes. Happy birthday. And as we say our kwaheris, tumeshasema kwaheri, we're going to leave you with this video, and it is aligned with today's conversation from Laila Ali Othman. I hope I'm saying that name right. But from me and Winnie,
goodbye. Enjoy the rest of your day.
To the one smiling in public and drowning in private, this is for you. I want you to know that God sees your strength. He sees your silent pain. And I want you to know that you're not weak. You're not alone. In fact, a lot of people are going through the same thing. Whatever storm you're working through, Just know that God is with you, closer than your heartbeat. Keep going. Even a very small step in the dark is still a step forward. You don't have to explain your tears to anyone. Just don't stop moving. I want you to know that joy may be silent now, but I assure you, one day it is going to come. So put your faith in God and believe that this day shall pass.